Hello, everybody. This is Charles Alvarez again, President and CEO of Cornerstone. Welcome to yet another business podcast. We are blessed today to have Richard Walsh. Richard, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Charles. Great to be here.
I appreciate you being a guest on our show.
Uh, I'm honored myself, so I just love to make an appearance and share some good stuff.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about you, your background, and how you got to the point where you are now.
All right, I will have to let's see. Start. That's a long timeline. 87. Got out of the Marine Corps. We'll start there. So I got out of there. Was swinging a pickaxe, digging trench for $5 an hour. That was fun. Had to work. Got offered a side gig to move some rock for a guy. Ended up being 35 tons of gravel. I had to shovel from the street to the backyard to spread that. But I did it. Did it on a Saturday. Spent my last $85 in a wheelbarrow and a shovel. Went and knocked that out. And the great thing, Charles, was he came out and he put $1,000 in my hand.
Wow.
Okay. Now I was working for $5 an hour, right? So I did the same thing the day before, basically for $40. Right. So I'm looking at this $1,000. I'm like, I know my future. I'm going to work for myself. Okay. That's how you make money. I'm going to get all the money. So slowly moved into that. How can get other gigs? Built the landscape business that turned into a custom water feature business. So ponds, waterfalls, streams. Did that, was growing that, incorporated steel sculpture. So I became a steel sculptor. Ended up being internationally recognized on that. Did some world class exhibits, 1,000 water features. That was going great for about 20 years. Now I'm married with 6 little kids under 4 years old. Then 0809 comes
Wow.
and crash. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no one needed a pond in their backyard. No
All
one
right.
needed a sculpture in '09. So, yeah, November 5th, 2008, my phone started ringing day after the election, and I lost a 500,000 on that day.
Jeez.
People canceling, doing stuff, and that was just the beginning of the cliff. We started limping through '09, and I'm like, this is just not happening. I tried some things to keep things going, and what it really revealed, Charles, was it revealed the things that I didn't do in my business, which was like business. Okay. I was out making things and making money. So I always thought, wow, I'm making a lot of money, a lot of money. I'm a great business guy. Okay. I didn't ever want to look at I call it the stuff I push to the left of my desk, like taxes and other
Yeah.
things like that, so didn't want to pay much attention to that because that was too fun doing great things, having too much fun. So, yeah, I lost everything, lost my home, lost the business. Again, my 6 little kids, my wife and everything. So we had to, obviously shut down, relocate and start over. The big thing with that, Charles, was really, I had kind of this epiphany because all I want to do is keep this business going. I spent 20 years building this, and it had truly become my identity. So it's who I am. Okay. Without Rick Rock, I didn't live. I was nobody. Always had the hat, had the shirt, to wrap vehicles, everything else, right? The fleet, all that stuff. So, but I had a little epiphany one morning. I was thinking about my 6 little kids, and I'm thinking, I come home, they attack me, I leave. My 4 year olds chase me down the driveway, chase my truck crying because I'm leaving. And I realized, my kids don't care what I do. They don't care what I drive or how many trucks I have. They don't care what kind of house we live in. Like they just want to be around. And I was not able to be around. Then I started thinking, if I stay down this road that business is first, it's everything over everything else. Like I'm going to ruin their futures. They're going to have broken marriages, failed relationships, right? Maybe they'll do some business, maybe they'll do whatever, but more is caught than taught with kids. So they're only going to do what they see. You can tell your kids all the right things, and you should. But if you're not walking that walk, they're only going to do what they saw you do, right?
That's right.
So you got to be congruent. So I got out of bed, walked in the office, said, we're done today. Shut it down, drove to my construction yard. Same guy's 10 years working for me now. I said, guys, we had our last cup of coffee together, and I said, we're done. Can't do this anymore. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew I couldn't do that business anymore. Right. I couldn't let something control me that way. So yeah, then the journey kind of began. So had to restart, didn't know what I wanted to do. Just knew I'm an all or nothing guy, Charles. So I'm not going to like partially do my old business. Like I owned everything, right? But I sold it all for pennies on the dollar because I'm such a wise businessman. I get about 20 cents on the dollar for all the stuff I own. So, Well, I said, you know what? I want to train people. I love fitness. I love working out. I'm a Marine. I'm a champion boxer. I'm a black belt. I'm all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to go train people. And so I went to an Anytime Fitness, started the training program, ended up becoming trainer of the year. So, but I'm also an entrepreneur. So that means, hey, go open a gym. So I opened a boot camp style training gym. That went really well. Did that great. Then opened a construction company, doing roofing, siding, windows, and scaled that. And then at the same time, a lot of business owners were asking me, well, how'd you do that? How'd you go from all that to nothing? I mean, I was in magazines, TV, committees. I had everything in that first business. I was the man, you know, it was cool. But everything comes to an end. So I started asking what they're doing. And, you know, I said, well, I started seeing these patterns. They're all doing the same wrong things. You know, so I'm starting to help these guys because I realized, because my litmus test, Charles, for my new businesses were, okay, we're homeschooling our kids, got my wife home. I said, if my wife needs me, can I be there in 15 minutes? That was my goal.
Hmm.
So that's how I built a business. How do I do that? Right. So it's really simple, but I like, so that's how I created systems and process and delegating and doing the whole big picture we can talk about. But I really got that dialed in, then started mentoring these other guys doing the same wrong things, fixing that. Said, hey, I should write a book. So I wrote Escape the Owner Prison, and that became a bestseller. So I built an academy around that, and I started coaching people because mentoring is fun, but it's for free. So I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm gonna be a coach. So people will pay me to help them and give them these great results. So I've been doing that for the last probably seven, almost 8 years, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm helping business doing great things, and it kind of brings us to where we're at today.
That's an amazing journey, Richard. That's really, really cool. So, as you speak with these business owners, as you coach them, what would you say are the top three challenges that they come to you with, and what are some of the psychological gaps or challenges that they are having that they need to overcome in order to take that next step? And like you said, get out of that owner prison.
Yeah, I'd say the first one is just putting the tools down. You know, whatever that looks like, whether that's a laptop or a wrench. You know, it's a tool of your business that you feel you have to do, and if you don't do it, it's not done right. I can't trust anyone, or I don't know how to delegate, or I haven't hired people to delegate to. That's the number one problem, right? We come in, it's just this: if they don't open the door, the business doesn't happen, right? And here's the problem. So they work really hard the first 2 years, and we all get it. If anyone here is listener to started the business, you get it. We wear 9 hats. We do all the stuff we have to do. We get this off the ground. We're selling. We're doing the books. We're doing everything. But the problem, Charles, is next thing you know, it's 10 years, and you've repeated the first 2 years 5 times.
Yeah.
So you're on the hamster wheel, right? And that's the thing. You're making more money, but nothing else has changed. You have no freedom. Everything you got in business for, you don't have
Right.
time with the family, freedom, lots of money, go where you want, do what you want, when you want. None of that's happening. So we have to kind of begin there. The second thing is inside the business itself, you haven't really systemized it. So there's a big lack of systemization and process. Like what I mean by that is even as some of the simple as when a call comes in for your product or service, what happens? What is that whole process all the way through until you deliver the product and thereafter? So I even created a flow chart. I call my sales flow chart. It's 31 steps from the first call, okay, to you're done and
Wow.
after. And it's like they do this, go this. So like it's not like, oh, I just go out and give them an estimate and do the work. No, it's not that. You have to break it down step by step so anybody can follow it. That's the key for people to be able to have a self-running business, which is what systemization and creating process does. It gives them a self-running business. You have to have those kind of steps because when you hire someone, they've got to know what to do. Shocking, I know, but too many people hire a lot of guys in this position and women. They'll hire someone and expect them to figure it out, like in AKA build my business, right? Like fix my business. Well, guess what? They haven't been hired to do that. They
No.
don't want to do that. They have no interest in that whatsoever. They want to come to work, clock in, do what they do best, whatever that might be, know how to win every day. What does success look like on the day, the week, the month, the quarter, and the year? and then they want to go home and not think about you until tomorrow. They don't want to think about this business. Okay, we get the curse of thinking about the business 24/7.
Correct.
Okay, that's us. Okay,
Right.
not the people that work for you.
Right.
Or should you ever want them to be that way?
Right.
Because in the beginning you do. Oh, he really cares about the business. They say yes to everything. I go, well, that's gonna be a disaster.
Right.
You get that person who will do anything you want and everything. That's horrible. It's not good for them. It's certainly going to be good because eventually they're going to have that straw that breaks the back.
Right.
And they're like, I do all this, and you won't be able to compensate them because it'll be worth so much. They're doing the work of four people, you know. So
Which means you're almost to the point where you're being held hostage by them.
that's exactly what it is. It is. I do that with you get this great salesperson, right? And they're just great, and they go out and do your stuff. You haven't created a process or a presentation, like you're saying, and then all of a sudden, what are you going to do? He closes every deal. He's making all the money for the company, and then he's going to want more and more and more.
Right.
And if he leaves, you're in big trouble. So you're
Right.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Third thing I'd say is no one starts or even ever creates an exit strategy. Okay, this is a really big deal that a lot of people. I say there's two times to do an exit strategy. The first time is before you launch your business. That's the best time. The second best time would be today. Okay, because you have to know in the simplest of terms, how long, how much. How long do you want to do this for, and how much do you want to get out? Okay, if you don't have those two basic things, and there's a lot to that, because if you can set that, hey, I want to do it for 10 years and exit for 10 million. Simple round numbers, right? Well, okay, sounds great, right? Oh, who wouldn't? But now you have to reverse engineer. What does it look like from 10 years on day one or year three or wherever we're at right now? What does that look like? What do I have to build in place? What do I have to create? Who do I have to hire? What markets do I need to tap into achieve that? Not only to get to that point, but how do I get to where someone would actually want to write me a check for $10 million?
Right.
But business is worth that because not many are. Okay. People in their head, they're worth a lot because they built this thing. It's their child. And all they have is really all they end up having is depreciating assets, old trucks, tools, things, whatever. Right. So they
Yeah.
have the stuff and they have no real assets in the business. They don't even have like recurring income for the most part. They don't have an excellent subscription list, right? Stuff like that. So a lot of little things, and the business still doesn't run itself, and no one's going to buy you
No.
as the owner. So I think those are the top three things I see.
So it's like what Stephen Covey said, which is kind of begin with the end in mind with that
Mhm.
exit strategy, correct? Okay.
That's it. That's it.
So is there a particular niche that you like working with, Richard? I mean, you've got a pretty amazing background in construction and gyms and siding businesses. So are there particular businesses that you feel like you're better suited to coach than others, or do you find that the business principles apply pretty much the same across the board?
They do apply across the board. The issue is you can't help everybody. Okay. That's the reality. There's 32 million small businesses. I can share. Okay. So right. Other people can do that too, right? So I do like the trades and service industry. So home services, contracts, things like that. That's my problem. I do a lot of manufacturing. Okay. With people on frontline leadership and really getting people dialed in that way. Those two things. But you're right. The principles are the same. Business is business.
Yeah.
Like I said, you could be working the shovel like I did in the beginning, or you can be working the keyboard, putting in data. I don't know, whatever you think, it's business. Just don't ignore the business part. That's my cautionary tale. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, give us a couple of examples or case studies on, clients that have come to you. They're running hard on the hamster wheel. They're the chief exec. They're what I call a chief everything officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about, how you found them, what challenges they were having, what did you do to fix, and what are some of the outcomes?
Yeah. So I'll give you a remodeler. Okay. Because kitchen bath remodeler I had down south. And so I came on board. He calls me and he wants to hire me. He goes, listen, I'm doing about 2 million a year. I'm running 12 to 15 jobs at a time. And I'm like, I stopped him right there. What, how many?
Yeah.
12 to 15 jobs at one time? I go, how's that working? He goes, it's not. I go, okay, that's a lot of jobs to be doing at one time, and wondering why he's not making money. I said, okay. His average kitchen price was $43,000 at
Okay.
this time, right? Now, when Kev does, he does spectacular work. Like it's like, dude,
So his
you got to
delivery was
charge him.
great.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can't spin 12 plates at a time. Keep
Right.
them going. Right. So I said, okay. So looking at it, I said, okay, what if we did this? What if you did 4 jobs at a time and you made like double or triple the money? Would you be okay with that? Of course, you get a yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, here's what we're going to do. Now, we jump right into there, into like your costing and your margins, what you're charging. Right. I said, so within about a year, I think it was 12 to 14 months, his average kitchen price went from 43 to 93. Okay. That's where we're operating now. Because what we did was like, well, who are you actually trying to serve?
Right.
You're not the kitchen guy for everybody.
Right.
Right. So we really define, going, the work you're doing. If you don't know, I'll tell you who you should be serving. Okay. This is some high end stuff you're doing. So I don't know if we had self-worth issues or what, but I'm like, we all go through it. Okay. None of us actually, charge what we're worth. I can tell you that pretty much across the board. My business, people pay me a lot of money. Never once did anyone say they overpay. They all said I don't charge enough. And I was in the hundreds of percent margin. Okay. So I'm like, dang, I must be really good. so, so this was that principle. So like we started doing it, started building a system. What's the process? Who do we serve? Start narrowing it down, right? Like here's a funny example. So one day he's asking me about some marketing stuff. He goes, oh, this person came in with this coupon book. The kind of the high-end coupon books. You ever see those? They
Yeah.
sell them and you put your company in it. I'm going, dude, really? A coupon book? You're considering this as like $1,500 or something. And I'm like, your customers that you serve are not going through the coupon book looking to get a deal on a kitchen. Okay. You're charging like $100,000 a kitchen. What, like, think about it. He's just, and that was like our standing joke for years. Careful, might have to go get that coupon book. Pick up some business. So we didn't do that. A lot of stuff. So I really helped him narrow down the marketing. And I said, in the beginning, it's referral, right? You do an excellent job and you create a great experience from the first sale from the first call to the end, and then people will tell the other, because they run in the same circles, right? So they're telling their friends who are the same income levels and everything else as them. So it's really nice to build. There's a lot of great little ways to market, but in construction it's challenging. You can't just go start putting billboards up because you go broke, right? So that's the whole thing. Like we got that, and now all of a sudden we went to 3 million in year 3. Okay, doing 3-4 jobs at a time. Nice little wait list. Okay, and that's one way to change everything. The greatest outcome of that, Charles. His wife contacted me, and she said, I got to tell you, I never thought this could happen. We just spent 2 weeks at the beach, all 5 of our kids, and he was never on the phone.
Wow.
Totally present. Like we never. She was 8 years. I never thought this could happen. And that's why I do what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you like saving families.
Yeah.
When your business can run itself, you can be present with your family. You can get to all the kids' games, recitals and everything else that they do, and spend that quality time with them, which is what most people, I don't think anybody really says, I want to go into business so I can ignore my family.
No, I know. But that's what happens, right?
It's exactly what, that's the prison. And
Yeah.
you're your own jailer. You put yourself in there, you lock it, and you toss the key on the floor.
Yeah.
Outside the thing, so it's consistent through business. Most people are there because they start with a skill, right? And they go do the skill.
Right.
Okay. And they get paid and they get the business. No one, even if you went to business school, it's not really going to help you.
Right.
Sadly, except put you in more debt. It's not really going to help you run your business. Okay. Because they don't teach anything practical, right? Because business is a battlefield. It is changing every day.
Yeah.
Every day we're going to war. Okay, adjusting, moving, strategizing. We gotta be looking down. We gotta be looking at the whole board while we're trying to do this. And if you're in the day to day, Charles, stuck in there, you can't see the big picture.
No.
That's why I come in and I'm the outside eyes. I walk in and go, that's broken, that's broken. We'll fix this, and we're done. I can compress 10 years into one. Because I've done all the stupid things already. I can save you. Learn from me. Like I tell my kids, be who I am, not who I was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So before we go on too much further, if somebody is listening to this and says, I'd like to learn more information, I'd like to have a conversation with him, what is the best way for somebody to get a hold of you, Richard?
I would go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com.
Sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Great.
That's it.
Oh. So when it comes to the coaching business, I know a lot of people have gotten into it in the last couple of years.
Mhm.
What would you say makes you unique, makes you different than other coaches out there that profess to do the same thing you do?
Well, I guess the easiest first thing to say is I have 35 years in business, multiple businesses. Okay, there, and I'm not technically throwing coaches under the bus, but if you want to be a coach because you don't really want to work and you think you can just follow someone's program and go be a business coach, like those people hurt the industry.
Yeah,
It's like when I was a water feature builder, I'm the best, right? But these landscapers would come do one or two a year and they always leaked and people hated them. And but I'm like, I do seminars and show landscapers how to build water features. You know why? They're like, why do you do that? It's your competition. I go, well, they're ruining the industry. So they're not going to compete with me on an artistic level. I'll smoke mail all day, every day. But if it'll just not leak, that'd be a good start. Okay. That will help everybody. So I'm like, showing the basics and stuff. So it's kind of like that. So just, and you may want someone, well, we talked earlier about do you do one kind of business or whatever? Like it's probably good if they have some experience in your actual realm. Don't be tied there like you need 20 years, building houses, then you can help me because that's not necessarily the case.
right.
Right. It all depends what they're bringing to the table. So, and coaching, like you said, Charles, is interesting because, well, when I started, there were no coaches. There might have been some at the Fortune 100 level C suite, pay a gazillion dollars and have someone go tell them they're wonderful. I don't know what they did, but they got a lot of money for who knows what. But now today, you need to get help.
Yeah,
Okay, that was my big mistake. First 20 years, I took advice from no one. It was all me, about me. I'm the greatest. I'm doing all this. Man, what a disaster! What
yeah,
a waste of 20 years.
yeah.
So
I think
that
you
that
said some. I think you said something interesting, and I'm sure you have a process in which you go about coaching your clients, but I've never seen a cookie cutter approach work for business coaches because it's not that pretty. It's a complex system. Like you said, it's a battle, and you can't say, "Well, I understand that you're being shot at with 1,000 arrows. Let's talk about how to protect yourself from gunfire." And it's like gunfire. I'm being shot at by 1,000 arrows. What are you
right.
talking about? So, like I said, I know you have a process, but I think it's important, like you said, to recognize that you have to use the right tool at the right time, and it can't just be a 100-step process to go from where you
Mm.
are now to where you want to be. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like you see the spears if you're watching some
Yeah,
video. I have a very warrior mindset, right? So there's a saying: "No battle plan ever survives the first shot."
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I have a program, and when in general we want to, but guess what? By week two, it's this problem. I got this right. And then you're like, there's tactical issues as well. Now you can be Mr. Stowe and nope, we're sticking to the plan. Okay, you do that and see how long that client stays with you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, because you're it's laughable
Right.
because I see people demand, and you know who tells you to do that?
Ooh.
Coaches who've never run businesses. That's who tells you to do it that way. And I'm like, I have never been able to do that. Okay, never. And I've coached countless people. I'm like, because and now you have a general path, right? You're getting to, but you got to be able to pivot. That's
Yeah,
business.
right.
Fix it. Go, okay, now let's get back on track. Here we go. Okay, you okay if we move this way? Because like you've got this issue, letting you know we're gonna have to sidestep. I'll take care of this. Put it down, and let me tie that into systemization, Charles. When you're getting these tactical fires, that problems that flare up all the time. Someone runs in your office and I got this problem, and you go out and fix it. Here's the problem. Okay, you put the fire out, but you didn't find the reason why the fire
Right.
started in
Because
the
it's in
first
the
place.
first place. Yeah,
Right. If you don't do that, it's going to flare up again.
yeah,
And that's another hamster wheel you're going to be on. So you have to have the bandwidth to go, okay, well, why did it start to, okay, now, okay, that should be here. This should have happened here in step 3 and 4. And then in step 5, everything wouldn't blow up. Okay, so let's do that from now on, build it in the system and correct the problem. Eventually you run out of problems. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like these repeaters will be done. There's
Right.
plenty of new things coming down the pike, but these things keep repeating themselves. That's like making the same mistake twice, 3 times, 4 times. Well, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we gotta we gotta fix it. Okay, like come on, I get you run hard, doing a lot of stuff, but this is the point of the whole thing. Like let's fix that. And all businesses are in different places when we
Sure.
start with, so we get that too.
So I know a lot of, I remember when I was driving in my stepdad's car growing up, I looked at him, I was like, what is the biggest challenge in running your own business? And he didn't skip a beat, Richard. He said, finding the right people for the business. So I'm sure that every business owner has this, I'll call it to be nice, an illusion that if I just magically find these type of people, my business will just explode. If somebody came to you that with that mindset, how would you respond to that?
And I'll say, well, you're doomed.
Yeah.
You're doomed. You're gonna fail. Okay, and I'll tell you why. So first thing, I start with my favorite saying. I go, you must remember when it comes down to employees or people, everyone leaves.
Yeah.
Okay. It might be 5 years from now, it might be 20 years, might be 5 days, might be at 10:30 when they have their first break. Cause I've seen that too. Okay. On day one. I said, so all this stuff happens. So then you have to go, well, how come? Well, then how do you retain them? Well, it all begins with how you hire them. What are they coming into? We talked about it earlier, right? Are they coming into a hot mess? No one's staying there.
Right.
Again, no one's going to fix your business. No one wants a mystery job. You know what the mystery job is? You come in, you start doing what you're supposed to do, and all of a sudden, hey, can you do this? Oh, we got to do this right now. We need, and you got to stop that, turn to this, those fires, and go work on the. And it's just pinball
Right.
all day.
It's
Okay,
whack-a-mole.
yeah, no one is staying at that place unless you get someone else who loves just misery. To live in misery because there's no success.
Right.
It's like you're living the Groundhog Day failure. It's just every day is failure, every day, and you're looking at the leader, pointing to myself as the owner, going, "This guy's a clown."
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't know what's going on. Like yeah, I think he's making money, drives a nice car and stuff, but like everything inside here internally is
A
just a
mess.
mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very well said. Richard, I really appreciate you being on our show. I've heard some great things about you. That's one of the many reasons why I wanted you on the show. Is there any other insights that you want to make sure that you portray to the people listening to this podcast before we close?
Yeah, I think everything is always based on outcomes, Charles. Okay. What is the outcome of every process you have? And I'm going to say, I'll give you a quick example. So, if you have a lobby and you come in the lobby and one of the part of your system for opening, whoever's working, call it the desk, is empty the trash can. Okay. That's out there on the other side of the counter, right? So, what's the outcome if you don't empty the trash can? Is it the trash is not empty? No, that's not the outcome. The outcome, if the trash is full, overflowing, and I walk in as a new customer, potential new customer, you've just tarnished the reputation of my business. That's the outcome. That's how you need to begin to think. Outcomes are not, I didn't do this, so it didn't get done. No, how does it affect the long game? What does that, how does that really affect the entire business overall? That's system thinking, right? That's vision work that you want to do. So you got to be sure, you understand that outcomes are what you're after. If your whole team knows how to win on the day of the week, the month, the quarter, the year, you're going to have a great business. But you got to build that for them. You can't expect them to do it.
Well said. So no more mystery jobs. Be very clear on what they're supposed to do every day, every week, every month, every year. That's fantastic. Richard, thank you so much for being our guest today. One more time, what is the best way for one of the listeners to this podcast to get a hold of you?
Sharpen the Spear Coaching.com.
Sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Richard, thank you so much for being on our podcast. I think it was a wonderful 30 minutes of insights. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Charles. Thanks for having me.
Take care.